Hi guys. Okay, I know I am a couple minutes late starting this morning. I am almost never late, but today's card is going to blow your mind. So I promise that it is totally worth it. Sorry, let me grab this over here. Yeah, so it's going to be totally worth it. There are so many things included in this card. I actually was taking extra time to write the supply list, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to come back later and finish it after the video. So the supply list linked in the description is a limited. It covers most of the big things, but it doesn't include everything. Hey Pam, hey Carol and Angela and Margaret and Sue, Deborah, Gladys. Okay, so are you guys ready? I never do this, but I am going to show you the card first because there's so many things that I want to make sure you know what you're going to see this morning. So are you ready? Drum roll. Oh, I'll show you the stamp set first. Pirates and Mermaids, which is super cutesy. I really like this, and it has puns, so cutesy and puns always makes me happy. The You Are So Mermazing. This card is mermazing. We're going to use this. We are going to use the dies that are retiring in a couple days from the Shark Frenzy set. So we're not going to use the shark set. We're going to use the dies because there's some great plants and sea things in there. And we are going to use the diorama dies. Okay, you guys want to see what this all comes together to make? Oh, and we're going to do alcohol backgrounds because we don't have enough to show today. So here is our final product. Okay, so we have our cute mermaid, we have the diorama, we have the ocean background, we have the plants, we have all the things, okay? So I'm gonna show you a bunch of tips for a simple way to make this card, as simple as it could be, and some variations that are really involved because I'll show you this variation. So this one here actually opens like this, and then you get the full effect of the alcohol ink background inside. Cool, right? Okay, I have another variation, two more variations. We're just gonna get stamping. So try not to be overwhelmed though. I'm kind of overwhelming myself because there's so much here. Don't be overwhelmed. Know that you could take any single part of this and think, oh, Meg's gonna show me how to color the mermaid. That's really cute. I could make colored mermaids for things. Or, you know, apply it to a different stamp set, but you don't have to do everything all at once like this card. So hang in there. So many good tips today. All right, I'm gonna flip you guys down this direction. Like I've got my like workout gear on because this card is such a fun workout today. All right, pull you this way, and I'm going to grab, I don't know what it's like where you are. Today it is a little extra gray. So I'm gonna see if this light actually helps us just a little bit better. Okay. All right, so pulling you guys up here. So we are going to start with the alcohol background. So I have a piece of vellum cardstock. This trend is really popular. It's everywhere. Basically, you're going to use the alcohol from your Stampin' Blends and combine it with some extra alcohol, rubbing alcohol, to make this amazing kind of background, okay? So we're going to start just by coloring with our Stampin' Blends. Now, there are a number of ways to do this. The way that I show you is not the only way. I'm gonna show you what worked well for me with the first time that I tried it. Now, you're gonna hear, if you are watching, you know, people talk about this video, you're gonna hear a variety of information about the alcohol. I am using 91% isopropyl alcohol. Some people swear you can only do 100%. This really seemed to work for me. But what I'm gonna do, you do have to use your vellum. I'm gonna pour out a little alcohol here into a little cup that I usually keep my green lid glue in, which I'm gonna use later. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to drip kind of big drops here onto our, maybe I'll pour a little, let's see. There we go. Kind of big drops onto our vellum. And well, that was more than I wanted. But what this is gonna do, I'm not gonna shake off the extra. I'm just gonna let it go. There's no like wrong answer to this. You can do big drops, you can do small drops, but you're gonna find that where the alcohol starts to pool around the edges, I'm gonna bring you guys down just a little little closer. Where the alcohol starts to pool around the edges is where you're gonna get those deep, dark lines. Now this paper is pre-made. If you're like, oh my gosh, Meg, I am not making that mess. The paper that's featured on the front of the catalog is this Expressions in Ink paper, and it comes already printed like this. It is right now not available to order, I think, or at least it's back ordered. So hang in there, it'll be back probably next week. But in the meantime, you can make your own. Now, you can blow the alcohol around a little bit to get some different patterns forming. You can use like a little squeegee. I saw Alyssa Tilsner used, from Australia, used like the little snot thingy used for babies. Get a clean one, to move it around, kind of whatever you want. But you're never gonna get the same exact effect twice. You're gonna have to be a little bit flexible with this to kind of get what get an effect that you're excited about. Now, lots of times you'll see places where there's some lighter and some darker shading when in this kind of technique. Kind of like here, see I had some smaller dots. I didn't get quite so much on there. So I'm gonna use my heat tool to just dry some of the excess. I'm trying not to push the alcohol around with it because I don't want the color to flow, but I do want to dry off some of that alcohol so I can show you sort of the next step here. All right, now can you see the alcohol just drying a little bit? We're just speeding the process. Okay, so now I can go back and kind of do round two. So I can drop some more alcohol on there. The other thing I can do is grab a paintbrush. I have a dry water painter, and I'm gonna just use this maybe. You can layer more alcohol on with your markers, and you can just layer more, you can layer more color on with your markers, and you can layer more alcohol on to kind of disperse what's there. But really, the look that they get in the paper comes from kind of lots of layering of different things. So there we go. So we're just gonna kind of mix this up a little bit so that we get some bigger drops and some smaller drops. And you can even go back and add more color. Okay, so kind of see how that works. And I'm just using Bermuda Bay. If you're gonna add another color, you can add a second color. Lots of good possibilities, but I kind of like this for our speckled water background. So I'm gonna leave well enough alone. And let's see, our paper will dry here. That's the beauty of alcohol. Okay, so now we have our paper there for our background. So let's talk about our frames here for our card. The frames come from the Diorama dies. They are easy to miss in the catalog because they're not featured along with a particular stamp set really. They're just in the back of the catalog as dies that aren't bundled. So you don't wanna miss those. How did these fit in here? There they go. So what I'm doing is not the largest one. I have the next two dies on here. And we are going to go ahead and make our frames with these. So now the version that I showed you here is a little bit more complicated that lets you open. You can also make the version here that keeps your mermaid on the front and gives you a place to write. I'll come back to those. Let's do the simplest version first, okay? So I'm gonna start with a piece of the Seashell embossing folder, and I have the folder here to show you guys. Can you guys see the texture on this? It is, gosh, I actually have this saved here. One of the prettiest folders. It will continue into the new catalog, so it's not gonna disappear with the changeover. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take these two dies and I'm just gonna cut the outer frame because I want this to be our layer. We're gonna go ahead and put this on a Flirty Flamingo card. So we're gonna have our card here. I probably shouldn't set that in my alcohol paper. And so I'm kind of eyeing this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this away and I am going to cut this with my die cut machine, okay? My Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. So just the outer die. So through the magic of television, we get this, okay? Here's the one that I cut. Now, that leaves me my smaller die that I need to fit in the middle. So I have a piece of Flirty Flamingo cardstock that's layered to fit exactly. So this is 5.5 by 8.5. So these pieces are 4 by 5 1/4. And this is the smaller die, you can see, because it fits in there. So I'm just holding these two together with my fingers so that I can get them there. I guess you could pre-glue them if you wanted to. But then I'm gonna go ahead and pop my second die on here, and then I'm gonna take this away and die cut this piece just like this, okay? So that gives us the second frame. Wait, did I not do one? I thought I had one of these done for you guys. Oh, no, never mind. Okay, well, we is that what I'm thinking? Oh my gosh, you guys. This has been such an exciting morning of stamping that I'm trying to remember what I'm doing. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut that second one so that then when I get our frame piece, it's gonna look like this. All right, there we go. Does that make sense? So I cut the big die from here, which leaves me this, which we're gonna come back to. I have my small die that I cut from the Flirty Flamingo, which gives me this layer right here, okay? And this is gonna go on our card front, but we're not gonna glue it yet because we need to get our layers together with our super fabulous alcohol paper. All right, so see how that works? Now, if you are doing the more complicated version and you wanted your card to actually open, then what you would do is you would go ahead and cut your card first with the smaller die, okay? So I'm gonna cut my smaller die first on the whole card. Then I would come back and I would layer this piece here actually on the inside, okay, but not glue it. I'm just gonna layer it there for like comparison. Then I'm gonna bring this back. I'm gonna put that insert back in the center, okay, because what I want is I wanna know where to cut the layer for the outer piece. So I'm gonna put that back in there, move this away, and then I'm gonna take my larger die, which is this one, and I'm gonna fit it on top here, okay, like this. And I'm gonna cut out a frame, all right, so that it matches this card that is cut. So that is going to look like this and like this, okay? So that would give me the frame and then the card with the hole in the front, okay? And then this version is the one you would use to attach these pieces. I'll show you that one more time when we get there, so. Okay, but we're gonna do the simplest version. So your beautiful paper here, it is kind of important for this particular card, you really want to have a white background behind it. Actually, it's important for all the versions, but for this one, we're gonna go ahead and just glue it right on here. So I'm gonna take my liquid glue. When you use vellum, if you put a giant dimensional under there, it's gonna show right through, which will make you unhappy, I think. I don't love to see that. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna use our two-way or our multi-purpose liquid glue, and we're just gonna coat glue on this whole piece. Now you might notice I'm using the other end, which is this squeegee tip, and the squeegee tip lets you apply glue to your paper and then squish it all around. So it doesn't take as much glue as you think. So all you have to do is move that around. Remember, because if you can see the glue, which I don't know if you can, it is enough. And then I'm just gonna layer this here on top, and that's where it's gonna go. It doesn't wanna move around. So squish from the back side always, and you can see that those bright vivid greens and alcohol lines and stuff are so pretty when you have that white layer behind. So let's see, I'm trying to get this. All right, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and cut this now. And like I said, we're gonna use the dies from the Shark Frenzy set. And I love these guys. This was a project that I did about Valentine's Day because it's Valentine-y. And I use those little plants here and the actual little shark dies and stuff. These guys are about to retire, so don't miss them if you wanted to add those if you have shark fans. But I'm actually gonna use them because I love these greenery pieces and I love the wave die. And the bubbles and so forth are cute too. You can actually use these little accessories, the glasses and the mustache and the hat and the bow ties. You could use those for anything. Add them to your other characters, a little hat and a cane. This is a really great set of dies, even if you're not using the two sharks. So, and they are on sale right now and available just for a little longer, so just till the 30th. Oh, and remember, or reminding to tell you about sales, Stampin' Up! Just announced yesterday, so this is hot off the press, that they actually think maybe it came out on Monday night. But anyway, they're going to do a free shipping sale on June 24th. So that's Thursday, which is tomorrow. Any order over $50 gets free shipping. So if you have a really great big order, this is a great time to get it because, I mean, you had a $300 order, it would be $30 in shipping and you get that for free. So pick an extra stamp set. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and die cut this with our die, and through the magic of television, I have a slightly different version of it, but I've got this cut here, and this is going to layer on our card. So this is gonna go underneath here and layer like so. Okay, now I wanted to make sure I had a nice background on here that lets our mermaid stand out. So I'm going to pop this same piece that we die cut out back under here, and this is gonna fit together like this. So remember, this is gonna be the simple version, the flat version of this card. And when I put these together, I'm gonna use those little plant dies here because I want to add them to our card. So we're going to pop these guys on in here, and let's see, I'm gonna actually add some extra dimensionals that I am not gonna add otherwise. So I'm holding these together so they don't move. The dimensionals are great for this one. I wouldn't use them for the other parts of the other versions of this card. I'll try to tell you a little more about that. And then I'm gonna give these, I'm gonna tap my glue down because I was just using the other end of it. Just a teeny bit of glue on the back side of a couple of the pieces there to give them just a little extra stability as plants. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna pop another dimensional on kind of this end, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and layer our pieces here. So I'm gonna pop these on first. You just, with this card, there's a lot of moving parts, and so you just kind of wanna keep like checking things, see where there's room. Like there's room for a dimensional here, but there's not room there. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach these pieces. And like I said, you can make this, any version of this. Let's see, let's do it this direction. From the simple to the more complex. Okay. All right, so there is that piece that's kind of set. And now I'm gonna stick this piece on again, just adding some glue. The nice thing about the multi-purpose liquid glue is that it gives you just a little bit of extra movement time. So I might actually go ahead and set this kind of on the back here so that I've got it mostly placed right. And that way, when I go and pop it on here, it kind of continues that same pattern and it fits in our window opening. All right, so then we have to continue our dimensionals on here where we were missing them before. So I'm gonna pop a couple there and maybe one over here. All right, and then we're gonna pop this. We need some glue on the back of this. Pop this onto our card front. All right, okay, so you guys who are just popping in, I'm gonna show you the finished product one more time here because this is a crazy, amazing card. So here's our version that opens. This version's gonna open as a regular card, not as a diorama, like opening, you know, get your design on the inside and the front kind of thing, okay? All right, so let's see, oh good. Tanya says she's got lots of good tips already. I love it. Okay, so next we need to add our sweet mermaid, right? So you could add a mermaid or a pirate, depending on who you're sending your card to and what they would prefer to see. So I'm gonna grab a piece of basic white cardstock and go ahead and stamp our mermaid in Memento Black so that I can color the mermaid with our Stampin' Blends markers. Now, the pumpkin pie, I was thinking about this card. My daughter's a lifeguard and she got up really early this morning to be at work at 6:30 so people could swim laps. And so I was kind of like half asleep thinking about this card. And I thought, I think the mermaid needs orange hair. So I am using pumpkin pie. So this is pumpkin pie light. And the pumpkin pie dark is what we're going to use to add just a little bit of shading and dimension kind of around her face. It's darker from the shadows. And then I'm just gonna follow a few of those lines kind of through her hair to the end. All right, next we are going to go with Flirty Flamingo because that's the color here for our background. So I'm gonna make our flower Flirty Flamingo, okay? And then for her tail, we're gonna go with Bermuda Bay since that's what we did here. Oh, and I didn't tell you, the color for this plant, the little plants that I cut with the shark dyes, those I use Just Jade. You'll find when you do that alcohol background technique that your colors fade out into different sections because the colors tones separate a little bit. So while the markers were Bermuda Bay to begin with, I really liked the way the Just Jade matched by the time we got all that faded out. So, all right, and then her tail, I'm going to give a quick once over here in Bermuda Bay Light. And I think if you're looking at the supply list, the only Stampin' Blends that made the initial supply list right now were the Bermuda Bay. So I'll go back and add the other ones. So people ask a lot of times what colors we used. So Flirty Flamingo and Pumpkin Pie are the others. And then we're gonna make our leaves Bermuda Bay. This is kind of a blue-green. So sometimes I don't add an extra green when I'm using Bermuda Bay. I'll just echo this as the greenery color. All right, and then her tail. So for this, I'm gonna color a little dark at the base, and then I'm gonna follow at the top and the edge, just a couple of those lines all the way out towards the end. And then I'm going to go under each scallop, and I'm just gonna trace the bottom of each scallop. It's a little hard to see at the bottom. When she gets further up her tail, you'll see it better. But that is going to make each scallop look like it has a little shadow, okay? So the bottom of each scallop, you can kind of see here, like just loop, 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 loop. And that is going to add some definition there. And then it's gonna be darker where the tail overlaps and then kind of her underside there. So I'm gonna just add a little extra shading there, okay? All right, see how that works? There's our super close up. All right, now you could go back and blend that, but honestly, I'm not gonna bother. Now for her skin tone, there are lots of choices that you can use. And really, when you're trying to get a particular skin tone, the easiest thing to do is to just sort of make yourself a color swatch. So this is Pale Papaya, which is really pretty orange, but I'm gonna start with it. And then I'm gonna tone that down a little bit. You can use all kinds of shades to get exactly what you want. Crumb Cake is a great one. That's actually what I'm going to use to tone this down a little bit. This is light Crumb Cake, and you can kind of see that that blends there. And if I do a real light shade over this, it just makes her look a little tan. But if you're looking for a darker shade, you can add more of this color. Crumb Cake is a great one. You also have the choice, Bronze and Ivory come as a pair together. Ivory is pretty light and tan and a little less orange than Papaya. And Bronze is a little more chocolatey tone. And so you can see how any of these blend and it really actually kind of makes a difference which one you put down first as to like what tone you're making. Can you see where those are mixing out there or mixing out here? So if there's a certain look that you're going for, just think about blending some of those and know that they'll continue to blend a little bit even after you stop coloring. So give it some seconds to kind of develop so that you have all your choices. All right, and then she does not have a die, so I know, take a deep breath, it'll be okay. Watch, it doesn't take long to cut her out. If you're a person who's like, my fussy cutting never looks like yours, Meg, how come my edges are all messy and yours look so smooth? Well, secret, mine actually aren't all that smooth. You just think they are. But mostly my advice is to, you see how my scissors never really move? All I'm doing is squeezing them shut to cut. What I'm doing instead is turning the paper with my other hand. So that is my secret for fussy cutting, and it really makes it go pretty quickly. I usually cut with a white layer around the edge that helps my design to stand out a little bit. So there is that. And now we're gonna take our mermaid and we're gonna stick her here on the card. And we got some dimensionals and we'll pop these on here too. And there she sits right there at the top of the waves, kind of floating. All right. Okay. Tanya says no fussy cutting. Tanya, you can do it. I know you can. And pumpkin high hair. Diana says watching from New North Carolina. So much fun. I love that we can get together from kind of everywhere for this kind of time. All right, so now we're gonna go back. I need a banner for our greeting. I think this one's big enough. I'm gonna bring in our Flirty Flamingo cardstock and our Flirty Flamingo ink pad, and I'm gonna go ahead and stamp that on there. And you know, it's not big enough because I want to add some extra elements. So I'm gonna come back and there we go. That's gonna be big enough. I'm gonna cut a banner tail. You can cut it freehand or you can use the trick, snip in the center and then cut from the corners, which gives you a really nice reproducible result there for your banners. And then there's these little tiny starfish elements here. So I'm gonna go ahead and, I think I want the open one if I can find it. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and add a couple little starfishes on your Mermaids greeting. And then this is going to get dimensional treatment also and pop up here on the front of our card, okay? All right, so I feel like it could use some sequins or something like that, but I think we're gonna cut bait here. Very fishy, right? So this kind of gives you an idea. This is the simple version. The alcohol paper is showing on here, but if you really want to show off your pretty alcohol paper, you have kind of two different choices. So here are two different versions of the card. Now this one, I did the same thing where, remember I showed you that trick, you're gonna glue your your basic white cardstock right to the back of your vellum after you've done your alcohol treatment. And that then I glued here inside the card. And this really gives you a nice big piece of this paper that you can kind of look at. And you can see it really, you know, if you pre-glue the paper to the vellum, you're going to be able to die cut it really cleanly. And then that just fits inside, and then our mermaid is inside our card, okay? Then with the plants on this version, you just want to make sure that you can stabilize your plants by gluing them to the back of your little tag a little bit there. And then this is another version. So the third card here actually has the mermaid on the front. And I thought, well, what if you want to like write more message and you're covering up a lot of your pieces? So you can go ahead and add that whisper or that basic white layer inside and put your vellum here on the front layer. Now the trick with this is that your adhesive is gonna show, so you might wanna get a little more even layer of adhesive than I did. And your mermaid is gonna have kind of her messy back side showing. So I was thinking about getting around that. And I think that the easiest way to get around that would be to just pair her. You could even go ahead and mount her, after you stamp and color her, stick her down on another piece of cardstock, like another piece of basic white, or even a piece of pale papaya here. And that way you'd cut her out with a pale papaya at the same time. And then you could have that just be a cardstock element there, kind of like if you die cut it twice. If you didn't glue those, you just cut them freehand together, you could put that on the back and it would, you know, cover up that point too. But so lots of possibilities here for making the most of your pirate set, making the most of the amazing shark dies, which are not to be missed, and making the most of that diorama and the alcohol technique. Lots of great things here. So, and if you don't want to fussy cut, you don't have to fussy cut. Jenny, if you shouldn't fussy cut, then don't do it. Another solution to avoid fussy cutting is always to stamp your element, stamp your mermaid element on a circle, and then go ahead and just die cut the circle or punch the circle, and then add the circle elements to this. So I do that a lot if I'm kind of in a bind and I don't want to take the time to do the fussy cutting. So, all right. Whew. Are you guys as exhausted as I am? Okay, I do absolutely love this card, and I think it needs some kind of embellishment. What do I have here? I feel like it needs sequins. Oh, let's see. What sequin options do I have? Or droplets, these are cute. Oh, actually, done. This is what I need. Genial Gems are in the new catalog, and they are like perfect color coordination. I thought I had another package. If you haven't seen this before, I always open my packages the first time and then slit the side. One more tip for you, because I don't like that adhesive layer that gets on everything. So this is so much easier. Pull them out from the side, and then let's stick some of these on our project. We're gonna do the slide and slap technique with our take your pick tool. So I'm gonna push down and slide, and that picks up so nicely. Oh, goodness gracious. How did I even doubt that we needed these? Clearly. All right, slide and slap. I'm actually gonna put them on though, not underneath the layers too much. There we go. Maybe some smaller ones up here around our mermaid. Oh gosh. Yeah, totally necessary. So now when you open it, you have that kind of fun shimmer. I don't know if you can see that as well as I can, but the those are really fun. So, and a really nice compliment for this. Now I'm like stuck on adding sequins to things. The Genial Gems they're with one of the floral suites, so you'll have to kind of take a look for them. And we're gonna do that, kind of push and slide. Oh yeah, okay. All right, well anyway, I could go on, but I will leave you guys to the rest of your day. So anyway, I hope that you are as excited as I am about this alcohol technique. Comes out differently every time, but there's so many beautiful possibilities. And it is a really fun way to make the most of your layered papers, the diorama dies, and getting those cute mermaids into something. So, all right. So let me know if you have any questions. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys on Friday when we get together again. So happy stamping. Have a wonderful day, and don't forget about the free shipping tomorrow. See you guys.